The information and opinions you hear on this radio show are those of the host, guests, and callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of KFNX, its affiliates, management, or advertisers.
Successful Aging, giving you winning strategies for living well and loving life. Your hosts are John Wenslau, Chief Executive Officer, and Millie Okeson, Vice President of Marketing for Friendship Retirement Corporation. There's a difference in just living and living well. The aim of this show is life and how you live it. Welcome to Successful Aging. Now here are your hosts.
Good morning and welcome to Successful Aging, where we provide you with the latest trends, health updates, and expert advice for living well and loving life. I'm your host, John Wenslau, here with my co-host, Millie Okeson. Good morning, Millie.
Good morning.
We got an old friend with us today. Tell us about the show. Great show.
We do. I'm so excited. But first, want to say hi to everybody on Facebook. We are streaming live on our Successful Aging, sponsored by Friendship Retirement Corporation Facebook page, so you can catch us over there. Today, we are talking with Karen Barno, who firmly believes everything is overcomeable. Karen's mission is helping women find their true purpose. She had to overcome an abusive childhood and erase the inner voice that repeatedly said, I can't and I'm not worthy. She learned strategies to heal her childhood shadow imprints that in turn led to the amazing success that she sees now. Karen has dedicated herself to helping women unlock their spiritual potential and learn to embrace their unique talents that will change the world around them. Karen lives in Arizona with her husband and daughter. She's an avid golfer and loves to travel with her family. And we'll talk a little bit more about her life as well towards the end of the show. But welcome, Karen. We love having you on the show.
Hello, Millie, John. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good morning, Karen.
Good.
Well, let's get right into it. Last time you were on our show, we talked about the book you wrote, Blue Rose Bookstore. The journey of healing and all that went into the authoring of the manuscript. You shared that you learned a lot in that process. So tell us how you came to believe that everything is overcomeable. What do you mean by that? At our organization, we really believe that. So what you bring to the party is going to be really kind of cool to talk about today. So talk a little bit about that.
It's just a belief that if you really believe in yourself and you have the right attitude, mindset, script, there's nothing you can't overcome. And I know there's always people out there saying, well, I had this horrific thing happen to me and I can't overcome it. You can if you're willing to take the steps, if you're willing to go back and look at it. Sometimes there is no reason. It's just a very bad outcome. So you have to just understand that the universe works as the universe works and continue moving forward while you heal what's going on in your past.
But you still think you have control over part of the universe, right? At least your part.
I think we have control over every piece of our part of the universe. And I believe, and this comes from somebody that was severely abused, I believe that everything that happens to us happens for a reason. It's for us to, now it took me years to find the reason for what happened, but to understand so you can go on and teach others what you've learned. So you can reach back and help others that have gone through the same stuff. It helps.
And don't you feel that that is something that anyone can do, that process, no matter what age you are? I think, in the generations that we work with in our industry, people have stuffed things for so long, but they're not too old to be able to overcome and heal from the things that have happened in their past. Would you agree with that?
Totally. I mean, I've had clients come to me that are in their 70s and 80s. Mm-hmm. You're never too old to look at the past. I think what naturally happens, especially to our age group, when we hit 45, 50, 60, our kids are grown, they're almost out of the house, they're through with college, and we look around and say, what happened? Mm-hmm. Is this my life? Is this the life you wanted to have in your 20s? Probably not. Probably none of us is doing what we thought we'd be doing in our 20s and our 30s. But we get to that point where you look around and say, what's next? Mm-hmm. And the reason why we haven't been living the life is we let fear creep in. We got married, divorces, children, and we just kind of accepted our path. Mm-hmm. But I think when people get about 50, they start looking more at the world more spiritually and willing to take more responsibility for their own life, because now they're just responsible for themselves. The kids are hopefully on their way.
Yeah, I know we're going to talk about some specifics in some areas here, but where do you start? Because it seems like you could start almost anywhere on this path. So where maybe personally, where did you start on?
You can start anywhere on the path. For me, I was homeless. I was a train wreck. I was a heavy drinker. But I also had a college degree. I had a great job. I just blew up my life and I couldn't figure out why. I mean, how could I have done this to myself? Well, if you don't look at what's taking place in your life, the universe will force you to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I call them universal clue alerts. You see the clues coming and you keep ignoring them, then the universe is going to blow up your life. So for me, it was just kind of sitting back and saying, okay, what's going wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And just in the very beginning, it was just like, well, I probably shouldn't drink so much. Let's just start there. Find a place to live. Second thing.
That's good.
There you go. And just start taking little baby steps. But I didn't realize I had been abused. I had it so buried that I didn't realize it until my daughter was born. And all of a sudden I was sitting there playing with her and I was like, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
And it just flooded back. So I had it that very deep that I just thought I was a train wreck. I didn't realize that I had a reason behind my train wreckery. And so it was going to a bookstore and finding Think and Grow Rich. It cost $3. I dug out $3 out of my wallet and paid for it. And it just started sending me on my path of changes.
Process of elimination.
Yeah, we've had several guests on the show, and the chap that wrote Every Monday Matters.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Matthew.
But what
Love
you told
him.
me, I
Emerson.
think, is that you make a decision that something's got to change. That's where you start,
Mhm.
right?
It absolutely has
Something
to.
has to change.
The power.
And you are the one that is empowered to work that trip.
You're the only one. Nobody else. I mean, my family, my parent, when I got married, in fact, it still kind of hurt my feelings. When my dad looked at my husband, who, we've been married now 30 years, and said, it's up to you. She's off our hands now. I was like, wow. And he said it in front of me. I was like, so uncool, Dad, but thanks. But I mean, I needed that one person in my life that completely and totally believed in me. And my husband has always been my biggest cheerleader.
Aww.
Doesn't matter what dumb thing I come up with and say, I think we're going to try this. He'll be like, okay.
Wow. I know you say, don't let regret win. Why is this your mantra?
Because we let regret win. I mean, we work in senior housing. We all do.
We do.
And if you walk around and if you want to see out there, if you want to see what regret looks like, go to an assisted living, to a nursing home, and sit down and talk to these residents that are in their 80s, 85s, and 90. And they will tell you they regret not taking a job. They regret not traveling. They regret not doing whatever.
Mhm.
And they live with that regret. And you fixate on that because all of a sudden it's, if I would have taken that trip to Europe,
Yes.
my life would have changed.
I wished I had.
Yeah. And your life probably wouldn't have changed, but it just wasn't the trajectory you were supposed to be on.
Mhm.
But it's hard to accept that we go down the path we're supposed to go down. So there's no sense regretting. It gets you nowhere except hold you back.
It's kind of like that living in the past piece, right? You
Mhm.
can't do that. I know the adopting the attitude, can't change what happened,
Right.
but I can change what I do today.
I would kind of argue that you can change what happens. You can kind of reframe it. Our mind's only a computer. That's all it is. I mean, we put so much into our brain and think, oh my gosh, our brain, it's a computer. Whatever you put in, you're going to get out. So, I mean, I took years to reframe my whole abuse. I can look at it now and have no emotion and just say, okay. It took years of looking at it
Mhm.
differently and trying to reframe it and trying to, reframe how I looked at the various abusers. And it's possible, but you have to believe that you can. And everything starts and ends with belief.
Right.
Either you can or you can't.
Finding the courage to let go, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
know we're getting on a hard break here in a second, but let's go ahead and start this question. Where do you see the most regret and why?
I think it just depends on the person. I think some people, you'll not talk to some people and they'll be like, well, I regret not going to San Diego over spring break. And other people will be like, I regret I didn't call the police on what happened to me.
Mhm.
Regret is so different, but regret is so easy for us to use to hold us back.
Mhm.
It's like worry and everything else we use to self-sabotage ourselves. Well, why would I ever do any good? Because look at what I've been through,
Right.
So it's easy to just say, well, see, I regret it. I regret my mistakes. And instead of saying, you know what, I've made some bad mistakes. Trust me, catastrophic mistakes. All you can do is shake it off.
Right.
And move on.
You can't
And move
go
on
back.
and look
Yeah.
at the universe and say, wow, that didn't work out the way I'd hoped, or, that was a really bad decision I made and I regret it. Now I'm going to move on.
Well, you're listening to Successful Aging on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. And when we return, we're going to continue our conversation with Karen Barno, author and motivational speaker, on the subject of Everything is Overcomeable. Come back. We'll be here.
Interest rates are still low. Refinance today and pay off credit card debt, car and home improvement loans, or even cash out. Credit scores down to 500 accepted with no lender fees. Call Mark Field, Arizona Mortgage Loan Originator of the Year at 602-241-2500. That's 602-241-2500. NMLS 965030. Barrett Financial Group. NMLS 181106. AZMB 0904774. Equal housing lender.
Are you or someone you know in search of high-quality senior services? Then don't delay. Contact Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475. Glencroft Center for Modern Aging can assist you or your loved one with independent or assisted living options, HUD housing, as well as skilled nursing and rehab options. Don't wait. Call Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475 or find more info online at glencroft.com. That's GLENCROFT.com.
Incredible farmer, incredible speaking. I have the answer. Bloomberg headline: Americans are retiring later, dying sooner, and sicker in between. U.S. life expectancy is declining. The 25-year trend line of increased longevity for Americans has ended. Here's the good news. You don't have to be a statistic. There is a solution. Virtually all degenerative disease is mineral deficiency. It matters not how many mineral supplements you take if the mineral is not being absorbed by your body. Incredible Farmer has a natural mineral release catalyst that will take your body's mineral levels to new heights. Take action for your health. Take action for your life. Call or text 602-762-2601, 602-762-2601, or charismaculture.com. That's CHARISMA culture.com.
Hey everyone, this is Ken Beckrick, owner of Online Trading Academy Phoenix. One of my students recently told me that Online Trading Academy is the best kept secret in the Valley. Well, let me tell you, if you're a business owner, the last thing you want is for your business to be a secret in the community it serves, even if it is the best one. So I'm offering a series of complimentary workshops to get the word out. The workshop will benefit beginners who want to generate monthly income trading the financial markets. Additionally, it'll benefit those who have no interest in trading but want to manage their long-term retirement accounts. And if you're an experienced trader who's struggling to generate consistent profits, this workshop's for you too. Admission is free for those who call 8448 income right now. That's 844-846-2663. When you attend, you'll also receive 5 of our most popular home study courses absolutely free. Call 8448 income now. Seating is limited. Call 844-846-2663 today.
Welcome back. We're talking with Karen Barno, author of Blue Rose Bookstore, A Journey of Healing, and she's a motivational speaker as well. So explain what you mean by childhood shadow imprints. Explain what this is.
Childhood shadow imprints are the comments that people make to you that you carry with you, and they could have made it to you, and it could have been the most innocent comment, like, aren't you just a dopey little thing? And you take that to mean that you're not that smart
or stupid. Yeah. That
or
word.
I've had a client of mine who wanted to be an architect and was told, you're not very smart.
Mm-hmm.
So she never followed her dream. Well, that might not have been what the guy meant or what the woman. I mean, who knows what they said? It's these comments that people make. Your sister has the brains, but you're funny. Comments like that, and we bury that deeply. And chances are within your childhood shadow is who you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
It really is your purpose. But we buried it. And that's why as humans, we're constantly thinking, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? You've got to go back to your childhood and find that comment that just lights you up. I was talking to somebody this morning who she's a perfectionist. And I'm like, why? She says, I don't know. I said, of course you know. You've got to go back and look. When did you get rewarded or criticized for either being a perfectionist or not being perfectionist enough? And that's the moment.
And that's the issue, isn't it? Is that we don't understand. Even as parents, we grew up some way. And as parents, sometimes we learn something, but then you don't use something else, because words shape people, whether we recognize it or not. It's not just the actions. But boy, that was a stupid thing to do. And the mind shuts off with a kid after stupid, not thing, right?
That's right.
Mom or dad want to say it was this dumb thing to do. The action was stupid. But if you stop listening after the stupid, that's what goes with you, right?
Well, and the other interesting thing is, from the minute we're born until we're 7 years old, we have no filter. Our brain has none. Our brain filter doesn't start developing between 6 and 7 years old. So we are an open book. So you could be sitting there listening to your parents, totally unaware, because you don't know how to process it, and they could be talking about you, or they could be saying stuff about each other, and you hear it and you internalize it, and you don't even remember that conversation because you didn't have that ability. And then, of course, as we get older, we still hear it at 11, 12, 15. It doesn't matter. We have to learn, though, how to go back.
So I guess what we can say as we summarize this piece, because I think the next couple of questions are going to take us through the end of next week. So the first thing is, it really is it not possible to reframe or reimagine a different past than one we live?
Yes.
And so I'm probably going to take Millie's question here, only because I think it's a natural. How does one begin starting to do that reframing piece?
You just one step at a time. For me, it was going back and it was looking at the abuse, and it was looking at the least painful part of the abuse and start healing how it happened and how I looked at it, and putting myself in a much more empowered light. And it's not an overnight thing. Now, you might be trying to reframe the stupid thing you said to your boss yesterday, and in your mind, you reprogram
I did that this morning.
I do that every day. And then you reprogram in your mind, and that's easy. But the big stuff takes time. And you have to look at the piece that causes you the most pain, and picture if it's, if you've had a bad outcome, if you've had abuse, rape, domestic violence, and you have to look at the abuser and program in your mind that they are different. Now, they can still be the big monster that you imagine them to be, but you also make yourself more empowered and take the pain away from it. And basically, in the end, and this sounds so easy, and trust me, it's not, but in the end, you just say, I win.
Don't you think, too, that the things that happen to us either make us weak or they empower us to be stronger? And so there are those people that I think have had bad things happen to them, you being one, that can, you were strong enough, is what I'm trying to say, to rebuild your life, recreate, reprogram your mindset, that type of thing. But there is a group of people out there that are not strong enough to do that.
Are you trying to say if it doesn't kill you, you can grow from it?
Yeah. So what advice would you give someone that is weaker, doesn't have the strength necessarily to really, what step would they take to help build that strength and reprogram and that type of thing?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to depend where you come up on the spirituality realm, whether you believe in the universe, power of the universe, God, however you believe. You have to believe in your mind that we're each a part of a greater piece. We are all a part of a bigger universe, whether, again, you're all a part of God, you're all a part of the universe, spirit. We're all a part of something greater. So if you're a part of something greater, what are the odds of you being the one that was picked to be a pooch? You weren't. You were picked because the universe believed in you, that you would be able to take what happened to you and reframe it and change it and take that message out to other people. So the first thing you have to do is sit down and say to yourself, again, reframing your mind, your first piece to reframe is you're a bright, intelligent, and empowered man, woman.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got to just keep telling yourself that. And if you have
So
to,
it's a self-talk.
it's a self-talk
Mhm.
because your inner voice, all your inner voice is your ego. And your ego, everybody thinks that, your fight or flight.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't. Your ego is to protect you. And if your ego could put you in a 10 by 10 room, no doors, no windows, and you talk to nobody, it's so happy. That's why whenever you go to change, whenever you decide we're going to start our own radio show,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to apply at this place or we're going to do that, you right away talk yourself out of it because your ego doesn't want you doing it
Mm-hmm.
because you're not safe until you get to that safe spot. So you have to learn how to control that inner voice because that inner voice is your ego saying you can't, but it's a fear talk. It's not your empowered talk.
Well, that's I'm glad you brought it up because the fear talk is the thing that keeps us from making the initial choice, right, to change something.
Absolutely, because the ego, you could get hurt. I mean, when you come from an abusive past, everything revolves around pain. So every time I go to step out to try something, my ego right away tells me you're going to get hurt because that's the pattern.
Mm-hmm.
If I stepped out, I was going to get hurt. So I've had and I still fight with it. I mean, I'm 62 years old. I know, 62.
I can't believe you said that on the radio.
We'll
Don't
lay-
you dare.
We'll lay
share it.
flowers here in a minute, okay? Bring those flowers over here, will you?
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
But anyway, I was 62 years old. I still deal with it. I still, I'm getting ready to launch a program. And right away, it's like, am I going to get harmed doing this? So I've had to learn how to control that. It's going to pop up every time I do something new. It's the learning how to say, okay, that's not Karen empowered. That's Karen, fear Karen. And who do I want to win? Empowered Karen or Pooch Karen?
Fear
But you have
always
to
stops us.
overcome that fear piece first.
Mm-hmm.
That really becomes the first part of the equation, right?
Exactly. Well said.
I agree.
So how
with
do you
that.
personally, how do you, I'm guessing that, I can only speak for myself, I'm guessing that everybody kind of overcomes that fear factor differently. How do you personally overcome that fear factor to overcome that piece? Because that's what this is all about, overcoming that first part. The rest of it then goes downhill virtually. Once you make that decision, the world changes. The light comes on. All of a sudden you can put another step in front of another step.
Mm-hmm.
And go on. At least this works for me. Is that how you see it?
I think you agree. I mean, there's a saying, new level, new devil. Every time you get to the next level, somebody else is going to show up,
Right.
And fear is going to come in.
Fear
so
stops us.
Yeah.
It just stops us.
That kind of brings me to the comment on that piece when you said the devil. Sometimes too many of us operate on the theory of better the devil you know than the one you don't.
Mhm.
And that becomes a huge obstacle in overcoming
Mm-hmm.
your own personal demons and issues, right?
Exactly. Because the devil, you're not getting hurt. I mean,
Or you're familiar with how you're getting hurt.
Exactly. But if you want to become the person you're meant to be, and if you want to become the person in your mind, we all know who we want to be. I mean, if we ever sat down in a room and said, okay, you're going to get paid $1 million to write down who you want to be, and I'm going to know if you're lying because I've got superpowers, we'd all write it down because we know. We just don't want to say it because we're fearful.
Fear of failing, feel of
Everything.
Yeah, that's right.
And it all goes back to your shadows. It all goes back to something you were told.
Words, powerful.
We've been talking with Karen Barno, author and motivational speaker. When we return, we will continue our conversation with her. You don't want to miss this, so stay tuned. This is Successful Aging on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
The enormously powerful sound of the Apollo 11 launch 50 years ago today, just 3 days before Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin would become the first men to set foot on another planet, the moon. What Vice President Mike Pence called a courageous mission as he stood today before the flight suit Armstrong wore.
It is moving for his family and for every American to remember the dangers and the risks at the time.
At Cape Canaveral, Buzz Aldrin remembers.
50 years ago, the Saturn V took the command module, the lunar module, 3 of us to the moon. We landed, explored, got back up again, rendezvoused, came back.
He laments not much has happened in the last 50 years. The Dow down about 20. I'm Mike Morse.
Arizona News Radio. The U.S. House likely to vote today on a resolution condemning President Trump's controversial tweets over the weekend as racist. Democratic lawmakers quick to criticize the president, a handful of Republicans as well. Arizona's Debbie Lesko hesitant to weigh in.
It's better to let the Democrats battle them amongst themselves, and I don't plan to insert myself in that conversation. Just let them do it on their own.
Chaotic scene at a condominium complex in Phoenix Monday night. Shots break out. One person killed, 2 others injured, one of them in critical condition.
At this point, we have a number of people that we've detained, but again, we're still trying to determine who's suspects, who are victims.
Police spokesman Tommy Thompson, a man found guilty of murdering his wife in 2007 in Ahwatukee. Dr. Gruel and his wife were in an arranged marriage. Prosecutors say he left a note admitting to the killing and fled to India after it happened, but he claims she died accidentally during a fight. 114 in the desert, upper 80s in the high country with dry conditions. Jeff Scott, Arizona News.
From the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center, mostly sunny for this morning, an afternoon high of 114, clear overnight with your low at 89. Wednesday, sunny and hot with your high at 110, then mostly sunny on Thursday with your high at 107. I'm Lori from the KFNX WeatherBug Weather Center.
Currently here in Midtown, we are at 106 degrees. Our next news will be in 30 minutes or when it breaks. Coming up, we've got the second half of Successful Aging right here on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX.
Are you or someone you know in search of high-quality senior services? Then don't delay. Contact Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475. Glencroft Center for Modern Aging can assist you or your loved one with independent or assisted living options, HUD housing, as well as skilled nursing and rehab options. Don't wait. Call Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475 or find more info online at glencroft.com. That's GLENCROFT.com.
AMI Diamonds and Jewelry. Guaranteed wholesale prices to the public on all diamonds, gems, pearls, and jewelry. That's 60 to 80% off retail prices or more, which makes it the perfect place for price hunting. Located at Cactus and Tatum across from Paradise Valley Mall, AMI Diamonds and Jewelry offers highly reliable servicing for all your fine jewelry and watch repairs, as well as bead and pearl stringing. The owner is a global diamond specialist, obtaining investment-grade GIA-certified fine-quality diamonds for a small commission, thus making them a sparkling commodity that you can see, touch, and enjoy. Diversify, invest, make a statement, and enjoy portable wealth. AMI Diamonds also buys gold, gems, pearls, diamonds, and fine jewelry. AMI Diamonds pays out some of the best values for your items in the Phoenix area. You'll be satisfied working with professionals who each have over 40-plus years of experience in the jewelry trade. Same-day service available. Stop in today. AMI Diamonds, a family business with a very friendly environment. AMI Diamonds. Call today, 602-923-8200. 602-923-8200.
Well, welcome back. We're talking with Karen Barno, author of Blue Rose Bookstore, A Journey of Healing, and she's also a motivational speaker. Karen, we talked about a bunch of things so far, but let's talk about the one that's going to take us maybe over the edge. If the mind is truly a computer, or in some things we talked about as a break, you're somehow connected to the universe, whichever way you think you're connected or attached. On that principle, everybody should be able to have everything they desire, right? And if so, if that's how the thinking goes, why not?
Why don't they?
Why don't they?
Because they don't believe in their own power. Our power scares us. When we realize how great we are, and you can use the example of the mother who gets in an accident and her 3 children in a car and she lifts up the car. You know, people say, oh, that's adrenaline, that's this, that's that. You're correct, it is, but it's also the mind that you believe you can do it. And that's why you'll look at people and you'll think, how does this person manage to be this international best-selling author? Because they can see it and they can believe it and they realize that why can't they? That's the question we need to ask ourselves. If you want to become the first female president of the United States, why can't you? You know, if you want to own your own business, why can't you? Well, our first answer, that very first answer is probably our truth of why can't we? And it's fear-based.
So how is this different? If you talk about it, your perspective of the universe and how you're connected, whatever you believe. How is this different then, or is it the same as just positive thinking?
It is the same. I mean, when you go back, if you read Wallace Wattles' book, he wrote it in 1908. And he's the one that brings up, as we were talking on break, about the concept of the in-between. If you look at the universe and you picture that in between every strand of the universe is the spiritual piece, is the good stuff, then you can attract it. This was 1908. This was before Think and Grow Rich. This was before, and you go back to the 1850s, and I can't think of the author who wrote a book on this. I mean, if you go back to the Greeks, we've talked about this forever.
Law of attraction.
It's just too easy. It's too easy. So it cannot be true because life has got to be hard. And life doesn't have to be hard.
But we make it hard, right?
We make it hard because that's what our parents told us. And, you know, why do successful kids come out of successful parents? Because the parents were the cheerleaders. They were like, you can do this. You can believe in it. You know, my dad didn't have a college degree and he did extraordinarily well. And he would sit there and tell me, you know, as my sister's off getting all straight A's, he'd be like, don't worry about it. Grades mean nothing. It means what you got up here. And he was right. I mean, I have a degree, but it means nothing. It's because I believe.
So if we going back to the shadows that we talked about earlier in the sense of you're impacted by our shadow imprints, and I don't disagree with that. However, there are also other imprints that come along. It's not just our shadows that from their childhood that impacts us. As you get older, the people you hang out with, your teachers, where you work, how do they impact us? Or don't they have anywhere near the same kind of impact as the shadows from childhood?
They do.
Dr. Freud.
They do. They do to a point. I mean, our shadow imprint is usually who we attract into our lives. Are those people, because it's an imprint in us and we don't realize we're operating on that operating system, like the Mac operating system, or it's our operating system. But you know, if you don't like what you have, or if you're not sure,
change your friends.
Look at your 6 friends.
Yeah.
If you know, if they're making 20,000 and you're making 20,000, you need to go look for new friends, because it's mindset. Everything is a mindset. And once you accept that, once you accept how great you are, and it's hard to accept because we're told since children that you're not all that great. You know, don't you think you're little Miss Fancy Pants, or you know, you're not that great football you think you are. You might have been the head quarterback guy on the team, but there's always somebody saying, well, you're not all that. So we're afraid of our power because I think we fear if we get powerful, will we use it for bad?
Well, do you think that as we're having this conversation, which is fascinating and from my perspective, so we are what we think, but we're also impacted by people around us. When we're children, of course, we can't always choose our parents, okay, even though sometimes we may like to. So if you want to be rich or richer than where you're at, find rich friends to hang around with, right? If you want to be smart and be an academic, find friends that hang around that are people that are smart. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly correct. And you may not have access to those people. I mean, when I went through school, I had a speech impediment. I couldn't say my R's and my S's. So I spent up until 9th grade practicing Silly Sally and Rudy Rooster. I was categorized as special needs because I had a speech impediment. So I thought I was a dummy. So I decided I'm going to go to college. My parents were like, you know what? You're not the smart one. You're the funny one. So
funny is good.
Yeah, funny is good. Yeah. So I joined the military and figured, well, I'll get the GI Bill and go to school. Get in math class, math 90, the lowest you can get into, and I'm going to drop it. And I tell the instructor, I'm dumb. I just can't get the math thing. And he's like, if you stick with me till the end of the semester, I will let you drop on the very last day with an incomplete so you don't get penalized. Mm-hmm. I found out I'm smart. I mean, because he believed.
Yes.
He's like, you're not dumb. You just haven't been taught right. And it's that the people you have to start asking, universe, I'm not good at this. Please send me my way.
So what,
and they will.
What, other than the fear factor and the ability that you're making decisions, what other factors do you think go into that? Let me just share with you just where I'm coming from. I had a friend that I went to college with. He was a nerd. When, we went out playing football in the afternoon. He was out studying. Brilliant guy. But you couldn't put him in front of people. So he decided that he wanted to be a speaker. He, on his own, made decisions to travel around. We were living in Texas at the time. everywhere there were speakers, he went to listen to them, how they did, what they didn't. Impacted his life that he wound up becoming just a huge success as as a speaker. But he did that on his own. So what's keeping most of the people? I got the fear piece, so I get past the fear piece. Why is it that we're afraid of expending the energy to work at something after we get past the fear thing?
No, it just sounds too easy. I mean, how many people watch The Secret and say, well, that's BS? And no, you're not going to sit in your couch and get a BMW, but we're too afraid. It just goes back to we're afraid of how great we are. It scares us.
Don't you think too, though, that, and I've had friends that grew up in it had a terrible childhood. I mean, just awful childhood. Went into the military and decided that absolutely positively was going to change the outcome of his life and became very, very, very successful. He was never going to mirror the childhood that he had grown up in. And so, and I've had other friends as well, but don't you think a lot of that too comes from, there are those people that gain strength from the awful, their past, their shadow imprints, so to speak, and they decide, I am never going to live like that again. I'm going to do similar to what John is talking about. I'm going to do everything in my power to change that. And then they become this incredibly successful person.
It goes back to what we talked about at the very beginning. It's the power of the decision. It was the power of the decision to decide, do I want to keep being like this or do I want to be something else? And if you look at somebody and there's something in them that you really like there's things in Millie that I just adore.
Really?
Right back at you.
That means that those pieces are within me. Conversely, if I look at that guy over there, I don't know, and there's something about him that I don't like, that's where the shadow is. So it's recognizing that you're in control, and it's making the decision that I am never, ever going to be homeless again. I am never going to keep making the same darn mistakes year in and year out.
Right.
How about last thing? I know we're getting on a hard break here in a minute.
Yeah.
Just occurred to me. How does serendipity figure into the life?
Serendipity is really just a law of attraction. You saw it, you asked for it to come into your life. And so the universe, it's like universal clue alerts, you're on the wrong path. Serendipity is the same thing. You're on the right path. Keep going. The universe sometimes has to nudge us because standing in your greatness, people love knocking down people that stand up.
Successful people.
You get on a stage, every one of your friends are going to be like, well, who do you think you are, Millie? Please.
Exactly.
We say that all the time. Who are you, Millie?
But I mean, it's people love to knock you down, and it's hard because you have this friends or these people that you thought were your friends, and something happens to you. I mean, something happened to me great in the military, and they sent me this very prestigious class at U of A that no corpsman had been sent to. It was always the nurses, and all my friends were like, "Well, don't you think you're just all that?" And it was either I had to make a decision. Either I listened to them and I flunked the course, or I pay attention to the course and I can be honored by being the only medic that knew how to read EKGs as well as I did. So it's just making that decision.
Perfect. You're listening to Successful Aging on Independent Talk, 1100 KFNX. And when we return, we're going to continue and bring to a close our conversation with Karen Barno, author and motivational speaker. We'll be right back.
Are you or someone you know in search of high-quality senior services? Then don't delay. Contact Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475. Glencroft Center for Modern Aging can assist you or your loved one with independent or assisted living options, HUD housing, as well as skilled nursing and rehab options. Don't wait. Call Glencroft Center for Modern Aging today at 623-939-9475 or find more info online at glencroft.com. That's GLENCROFT.com.
The Valley's favorite weatherman, Corey McCloskey, stars in the classic Broadway musical, The Pajama Game, July 11th through the 21st at Tempe Center for the Arts. Full of lively songs, dances, and hilarious characters. Scottsdale Musical Theater Company's Pajama Game is the perfect summer treat. Don't miss Corey live on stage at the Tempe Center for the Arts, July 11th through 21st. For tickets, call 602-909-4215 or visit ScottsdaleMusicalTheater.com.
If you're a small business owner, good, sound, objective advice can be critical to your success, but where to find it and at what cost? Hi, I'm Alan Tarr speaking for Greater Phoenix SCORE, the nonprofit volunteer-driven organization dedicated to helping small businesses thrive. There are 3 ways to benefit from SCORE. Each year, we hold over 100 expert workshops at convenient sites around the Valley on topics ranging from marketing to finance to operations. Next, you can browse our online resource library at greaterphoenix.score.org. And finally, SCORE's popular free one-to-one mentorship program. Last year, over 2,000 smart business people began SCORE mentor relationships because they know that investing time in their business can pay big dividends now and down the road. To find out more, please visit us at greaterphoenix.score.org, greaterphoenix.score.org. You'll be glad you did.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes?
How could he do this to you? And for Sheila, she has split ends.
B, console her?
Oh, sweetie, this is going to happen a lot. 4, maybe 5 more times before you get married.
C, take charge?
Got to get this all straightened out. Keep a little talking to, man to man, mano a mano. Hey, Steve! Is now a good time? No? Okay, no problem. Bye.
Or D, help her find a new boyfriend?
I know a great place to meet boys. The internet. Nice, single boys. Never mind. How about some ice cream?
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. We're talking with Karen Barno, author of Blue Rose Bookstore, A Journey of Healing. And we so have appreciated having Karen here today. I want to bring us back to if, as you believe, we are creators of our own life, then why would we create bad things like the abusive childhood, for instance?
Because we have to learn. Nobody lives in a perfect world, and nobody goes through this world unhurt. Just like nobody gets out of here alive, nobody gets out of here unhurt. And each time you get hurt or each time something bad happens, you may not be able to look at it and say in that moment, oh, I understand. But, a couple months will go by and you'll look and say, you know what? I really wasn't happy there. It's divorce. The husband comes home or the wife comes home and says, I want to divorce you. It crushes you. It's the worst thing that happened. 3 months later, you're like, man, I'm so glad to be out of there. It's just a part
you seem a little more clearly looking retrospectively sometimes.
Right. Exactly. Right. Sometimes in the moment, you'll see it, or if you're we're all intuitive. We all have the intuitive gift. Just some of us trust ours more than others. You could see it coming, when something bad's getting ready to happen, you can kind of see it coming. But when it happens in your childhood, you can't. The first thing you have to realize when it happens in your childhood is you could not stop it because you were a child.
Right.
These were adults that were supposed to take care of us. And I look now and I see so many people stepping forward with abuse in their background, and it hurts me because I feel like we're losing a generation. So I realize this has probably happened since the dawn of time.
Some things haven't changed because of human nature.
That's right. Yeah, now it's the social media is out there, so everybody knows
They're
about
just
it.
Bringing it up, just like with television came on, or radio before that, or newspapers. As information became more prevalent, it changed things, added more to the picture, right?
And now social media, definitely.
So now we hear more about it, but it's happened to everybody. Well, not everybody, but it happens to everybody. Has trauma. So it's up to you to look at the trauma and either decide, I'm going to let the trauma win or I'm going to win. And it just comes down to that. It's just going to come down to, do you want to make the decision that you're greater than you realize? Do you want to step into your greatness and be the person you want to be? Or do you want to be 95 years old or 98 years old living in an assisted living community filled with regret? And thinking, if I would have just made a different decision when I was 40.
One thing we talked about the break was, we think of these things that come to us, and we all do, I think, and life goes on, and there's a distraction that all of a sudden we get off of the course that we said we were going to plot that day. And for some people, they never get back to it, some may weeks or whatever. But you have something that you do is you kind of have a little routine that you go through when that happens that brings you back to reality. You want to share that with us? Little video, maybe?
She didn't know.
I didn't know we were going to talk about it. I made a PowerPoint, for me it's Keynote, but most people know PowerPoint. And I got, I went and took, people have vision boards. To me, you can stare at a vision board and it just doesn't do anything. It's just a board. So I made videos of, being interviewed by Oprah and, all the stuff, all the great, being invited to Richard Branson's entrepreneurial week. And I watched the videos, and it has all kinds of affirmations, and it has me talking, of course. And so when I get poochy or I get kind of like unmotivated, but I'll be honest too, I've been doing this for a while. I'll look at stuff and say, you know what? I don't really want to. I always thought I wanted a boat. Always. We were in San Diego over 4th of July weekend, and I was looking at a yacht, and I said, I don't really want a boat.
It's a lot of work.
I want to ride in boats, but I don't want a boat.
You're in love with the idea of a boat, right? Not necessarily. I've been there, done that, okay?
So I took it off my list and said, okay, no boat for me. I'm going to just go hang out with somebody with a boat. So it changes, depending on where you're at.
Right.
But it helps you keep your eye on what's important to you. And when people, knock me off my game, and, and I get knocked off my game, and, I hate being criticized. It comes from, my mom was amazing, but she was very critical. And so when I get criticized, I have a tendency to step back, and I have to keep working on that. So, you look at the movie and say, oh, yeah, I am awesome. Okay.
Right.
I will be
That's
great.
a great idea.
I will be on Oprah.
Well, and I think the reason I brought that up was I know that wasn't on our list of questions here,
I know.
But that's why I asked questions during the break. Because I think it's important for people as we go down this journey. Everybody is different. They need something that they can hang on to. We don't always have a friend beside us that we can go bounce something off, number one. Or if we do, it's for a moment only. Because most people are very visual people in so many ways. We have two eyes. That's always a good thing. And you have this little video, or this little PowerPoint you give yourself that you go back to. Some people use a vision board or a whiteboard to tie the dots together. Some people maybe write journals, which I think is hugely important.
Yeah, I journal.
Because it's something to come back to that brings you back to what you had. Because I believe for a long, long time, that if it the title of my monograph that I wrote, if it ain't wrote down, it didn't happen.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when you have that, you write it down because that becomes part of you. Because all we have is our thoughts to start with anyway, and they should be our thoughts, not Millie said or Karen said. If it ain't wrote down, it didn't happen.
Right.
But so I think that's important to have these things to tie to, because at the end of the day, we and only you, Karen, you, Millie, or me, John, we're the only ones that are responsible for our success.
Right.
Nobody else.
Correct. Tomorrow's going to happen.
Well,
it depends on what you want.
And happiness is a choice.
Happiness is such a choice.
Yes.
It's easy to be happy, but that's being said by a happy person.
It's true,
I've never
though.
heard of
No.
a person that's down saying happiness is a choice.
It is, and and I've had this discussion with other people in my life, and they'll be like, "Yeah, it's easy for you to be happy. Look at your life." It's like, you don't know my life,
right?
You don't know my
what
life
you've been through,
but I choose to be happy because why do I want to be poochy? Why do I want to be unhappy? Be happy. I mean, it sounds so trite, and I know there's probably so many of you guys out there rolling your eyes. I'm like, yeah, be happy. Why not? Give it a try.
Yes, I agree.
Well,
definitely.
I read somewhere a long time ago, it takes half the calories to be happy than to be unhappy, okay?
Yes. Maybe I need to be unhappy then. Wait,
I got to rethink this
really
one. True, though. All right, well, we want to bring up and make sure there are two events that are coming up that we want to bring up. And the first one is August 3rd at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging. You're going to be offering a seminar on everything is overcomeable. Is anyone welcome to attend this, Karen, or give us some of the details?
Everybody can attend. It'll be up on my Facebook events page today. I've been kind of caught up in other details, but and my Facebook is Karen Barno. And if you go to my personal page, you'll still show you my Facebook page. There'll be a slight charge except of course to your residents. But people, if you don't have skin in the game,
that's a reason to move in.
If people don't have skin in the game, they won't show up or they won't change. But if you're thinking, well, I spent $10 on this or $20 on this, I'm at least show up and listen.
Right.
And you get a great workbook out of it. You get to spend the morning with Millie and I, and you're welcome to attend too.
So how much is that? How much is it?
I think 20.
20. Okay.
I know. I just made that up.
20.
Well, it's not only on tape, it's on video now too, right? So hello.
Yes.
Except, of course, to your residents and family.
So $20. And that's at Glencroft Center for Modern Aging. So if you want more information on that, when John gives the number at the end of the show, please give us a call.
And don't get directions to get there from me.
Yes, I know.
Directionally challenged, are
I
you?
ended up at 98th Avenue where the choo-choo train is, or the Grand. I don't even know where I was.
And you have the train that goes by. And then you have the next one, the next event that's on there.
Alpha. You're the president of Arizona Alpha. There's a conference coming up in the fall, right?
Yes, we have a fall
when is that?
conference. It is September 24th. We're changing venues. It's at the Doubletree Inn by Hilton at 5401 North Scottsdale Road. We're very excited because we've been at Black Canyon forever. It is the evolving role of nurses in assisted living. So if you have anything to do with nursing or senior housing, it'd be a great event.
I know that you deal with seniors in Alpha as Assisted Living Federation of America. Is the public invited, or is this just kind of a closed conference?
No, the public's absolutely invited. The information will be up on our website by the end of the week at azalfa.org.
But it's a great professional event.
It's a great professional event because the nurse's role in assisted living is changing dramatically, and we need to stay ahead of the curve.
Right.
All right. Well, we got the signal, right? It's over for today. All right.
Thank you so much, Karen.
We've been talking today with Karen Barno, the author of Blue Rose Bookstore, A Journey of Healing. And she's a motivational speaker on the subject of everything is overcomeable. Thank you, Karen. It's been great to have you here today. I think we've all learned a lot. I'd also like to thank our technical engineer, Chet Reynolds. Great job, Chet.
Woohoo!
Our producer, Kay Baker, will set this thing up even though she's on vacation today, and certainly my co-host, Millie Okeson. This is Successful Aging. I'm John Wenslow on Independent Talk 1100 KFNX. If you have any questions on today's show or on Successful Aging, please call us at 888-882-7784 or check us out online at successfulaging.info. Join us next week at the same time, and we'll be talking with Sergeant Wentz Arvalo, threat mitigation from the Threat Mitigation Unit, and what to do if you're faced with an active shooter situation. Have a great week, everyone. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.